call, I'm going to be telling you a little bit. Oh, I'm going to be telling you a little bit about my journey to one-star director. And for anyone that doesn't know, like Rachel just said, one-star director is when you hit a total team of 100, which basically means you qualify for a bonus, like Rachel just said, of $500 on the first of the month. And then because you've got a team of 100, on the 10th of the month, your residual pay will be about $400 at least, which means you make $900 before you get out of bed, which still seems crazy to me. And that's before any weekly pays or check matches or travel commissions or anything like that, which is just why it is so important to try and get there. What's also important is that when you hit director, your income also becomes willable to your family as well. And honestly, that is just so special. I actually forgot about that at first when I first hit it, and then I got the email through, and the feeling of reading, because at first I was like, what's this, the Planet Pledge? And I scrolled down and realized what it was, and when it sinks in that that's what the company will do for you as well, it's just unbelievable. I mean, my journey definitely hasn't been easy. It's definitely been the biggest roller coaster you've ever seen. And it's took a lot of hard work and determination to get to this point. I'm not going to lie, there's been times when I've wondered if it is all worth it, and if there was times I thought I was never going to get there. But I can honestly tell you now that I'm here, that it really doesn't matter how long it takes. The feeling's just so worth it. So I'm here to tell you right now that no matter where your journey takes you, how hard it gets, please just never give up, because this journey is definitely worth it, and this feeling is so worth it. If I could bottle it up and give everyone a little taste of it for like 2 minutes, I just know you should all work so much harder for it. So I'm going to tell you a bit about that, and then give you 5 top tips to help you get there as well, because honestly, every single person can get there. I'm proof of that. So you just have to believe in yourself and do your daily IPAs, and honestly, it'll come. It's the daily IPAs that will get you there, and absolutely nothing else. And then at the end of the call, we're going to call out and celebrate all the people that have had the first sign-ups this week, which is an amazing achievement. And it's actually so exciting because it's actually just the start of your journey. And then also we're going to celebrate anyone who's hit a rank this week as well. So let's get into it. So I joined the business in November 2019. I saw the lovely Rachel talking about it on her stories and popped her a message because I just wanted to know what it was about. And a few weeks after seeing all the info, I just joined up. And to be honest, when I joined, I totally thought I'd just save a bit on my own travel, maybe like book things for my mum and dad, my friends and family, and make a bit of commission. I didn't really understand at all what it would be or what it was all about. I was probably your perfect prospect because I contacted Rachel. I just signed up and I just got on with it. I did sign up to both sides because I did think that people I knew would want to do this too. But I really didn't understand the rep side, how it worked. I'd never even heard of network marketing before. So I didn't understand what it was all about in any way, shape or form. So I didn't have any idea what I was doing or what I was getting myself into, and just thought, well, what's the worst thing going to happen? And just got on with it. I did launch my business pretty quick and just got stuck in. I did a few holiday quotes for people. I started contacting my warm network, sending messages out. I don't know why or how, but very early on, I did become much more focused on the rep side. I just enjoyed it. I just sort of fell in love with the process. And I think it was the community that really sort of got us involved in that. So the community really drew us in, and I loved jumping on the weekly calls. We used to have weekly calls every week, and it always gave us like loads of inspiration. And like Rachel said, the morning IPA calls, I've always jumped on them. And back then, it was Marcella who ran them. Like, that's how she built a business as well. I rarely missed one. I always remember I would get up dead early so that I didn't miss the value at the beginning. And it literally got us started every day and inspired us so much. And I think a lot of people don't really realise now, apart from those from the early days, that is how Marcella built a business and the other directors. She didn't just land there. And like when I first started, it was Marcella hosting the morning IPA calls in a pink dressing gown. And there was literally no excuses. Like everybody turned up. Like Marcella wouldn't have it. You just turned up. So that's what you did. And I mean, she's in a position now that she doesn't need to do that. She's literally paved the way for us. But what we need to do is follow our lead. And like Rachel said last week, do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. So when I think back to the early days, I really don't think I believed in myself properly on the affiliate side. I was just totally winging it, taking messy action, just getting stuff done. I think that is what I have always done. I have always just got stuff done. And at first I was finding ways to fit it in. I work full time. I've got Ella, who's my daughter, and she's always swimming. She does a couple of hours most nights of the week, because she's part of like a swim team. So the morning calls were like a godsend to me, so I could have some like uninterrupted time before my day began or anybody else in the house was up. And then on a night time, I'd often sit once Greg had gone to bed and get my inbox completely empty, reply to messages. And to be fair, that's what I actually do still now. So if you think back to me joining like in 2019, it probably wasn't the ideal times. Like Rachel mentioned last week, 4 months into my journey, COVID hit and literally everybody was locked down. There's no travel happening. And it made us giggle last week listening to Rachel, as I can remember her go missing like for a while at the time. But it was complete opposite for me, because I've really tapped into the community. We had weekly calls, we had socials on Zoom, we were making Marcella's famous acai bowls and still doing our IPAs. And like Rach said last week, people's businesses were really growing, and I actually hit 2020 builder, when you get 20 personals to yourself, by the October of 2020. So through COVID, I actually got to 2020. 2021 was when things got really hard for me. I know some of you already know, but Greg, my husband, had a cardiac arrest in 2017 when he was just 32. And luckily he survived, and he had a defib like implanted, which, to be fair, it all calmed down. And apart from the odd little blip here and there, it wasn't really an issue. And we were just living a pretty normal life. But in April 21, he went down again playing football, and his defib kicked in and brought him back. And this happened twice, quite close together. And then in May 21, Greg's dad unfortunately passed away, and it was very sudden, and I was there and I had to do CPR on him. So to say 2021 was a tough year is a bit of an understatement. I had kept pretty consistent throughout, but in June 21, it did really hit us, and I ended up in hospital myself. They were worried I'd actually had a stroke, but at first, but it all got put down to stress in the end. And I ended up off work for about 6 weeks myself. And at that point, I did take a step back from business, and I only really answered messages from my team and kept tapped into the calls and things like that. But in September 21, I decided enough was enough, and I had to sort of get back into it. And I was really felt ready to go all in on my business again, as I think what had happened has proved to me that life is so short, and I needed to make this work, because like life is short, and I know what this could do for us. When I checked my numbers, when I was sort of ready to start again, I'd had a team of 24, and I'd gone all the way back to 9. So I'd gone from 24 all the way back down to 9. And I was absolutely gutted when I looked at that genealogy, because I'd never looked at it the whole time. But I knew I'd done it before, so I just knew I could do it again, and I just got to work. 2022 and 2023 were both years of like hard work and consistency. So from starting back up at the end of 21, by the end of 22, I'd hit 2020 again. But to put everything in a perspective for you all, no one's success is a straight line. You see all the successes, you see all the selfie sign-ups, but what you don't see is the cancellations, the credit holds, the early mornings, the late nights, the frustration that you get, the feeling of what's the point, and the feeling that it's like never going to happen. And I know that there's some people on this call who've been a massive support to me throughout my whole journey. And the amount of times that I've said it's like taking 2 steps forward and 10 steps back is just not even a joke. And the feeling that maybe it's just not for you, and that you're not going to make it, and don't even start us on the feelings of comparison that Rachel mentioned last week. I mean, what is it that somebody else is doing that you're not doing? There must be something, right? So there's got to be. How are they getting all these signs and you're not? The list honestly goes on. I've thought it all, but you know what? The only way to fail is to quit. And like Rach said last week, if you don't keep going and make this work, like really, what is the alternative? So to me, that was the thought of going back to having like no hope that I could change my life and have more money to do nice things, just keep going the way I was. So I had to keep going. So when I hit 2020 at the end of 22, it was actually the 5th time I'd hit that rank. So I'd gone back, I'd gone forward, I'd gone back, I'd gone forward 5 times in that time. So, you know, when I said at the beginning, my journey has been a roller coaster, well, I'm not joking. In fact, every single rank I've hit on my journey, apart from when I hit gold, I've dropped and had to get it back. So like I say, you don't see these bits, but it's what makes you stronger, and it's all part of your journey. I think when people cancel and leave as well, you really do just have to think that they're not your people, and that your business will move forward anyway, so let them go. I can always remember Marcella saying at one of the events that she did, that you've got to move faster than your cancellations, as you're always going to get them, which is honestly just so true. You kind of just let it hold you back. I started in 2023 on 21 personals and 32 in my team at the beginning of January, going on to hit DIT, which was 50 in your team in the July, and then 40 in the December, which is 40 personals to you. And then I ended 2023 on 43 personals and a team of 70. So you can see how just me deciding that I was going to do something and making that decision is what, and just getting to work, and that's what it can do for you. Just stop all the excuses, and why it's not working for you. And that's when things start to happen. I'd say before this, I'd always worked hard and been consistent, but I'd only ever really shown up properly, truly, Monday to Friday. I used to think, well, I work full time, I get on the morning calls every single day, which I did. I do enough hard work through the week. So on the weekend, I just used to keep the conversations going and start new messages again. Like, I used to do stuff, I used to reply to messages and things, but I never used to send any new conversations out on a weekend. But guess what? On a Monday, every week I was losing momentum. So by the Monday, my inbox had dried up, and then it would take a Wednesday to get it going again. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was actually holding myself back. I thought I was still working on my business by doing the replies, but I really wasn't moving it forward, as I wasn't starting any new conversations with new people for 2 days. So when I decided to go all in, I set myself a minimum for each day with no excuses. And I'd say 2023 was definitely the year for me for no excuses. And let's face it, we all tell ourselves all these reasons why we can't fit it in, why we're too busy, why other people can do it and we can't. But really, those reasons that we're telling ourselves are just really well dressed up excuses that we say, and we make ourselves feel better. There's a good old saying, you can have results or excuses, but you can't have both. And it is really true. 2023 was the year I didn't take any weekends off from my business. And the first year that I went on holiday and did messages as well every day when I went to Mexico. Previous years on holiday, I just switched off, as in my head, I deserved to do that. But last year, I was so determined that I was going to make this work. And I decided, again, I made that decision that I was making it work. And I really do think that is the difference. You can make this business work part-time around your job, kids. You can make it work full-time when you get to that point. But what you can't do is work it some of the time. It just doesn't work like that. And I know you hear us all say it, but consistency, that it is consistency that'll get you there and get you where you want to be. I think in 2023, that was the year I proved to myself that it was possible. And again, it wasn't the easiest year for us. Greg had a number of setbacks with his heart and was in hospital a lot of the last few months of the year. He had a heart operation in November, just gone. But something inside me had changed, and I knew I had to keep this going, as I knew this business could change for things for us as a family, and it could give us more choices. And if anything really bad was to happen, it would give me the support I needed financially. So I'd sit at the hospital with my planner and get my messages done every single day. In between visiting, I'd be sat in the waiting room with my planner, no excuses. So 2024 has seen us go from 43 personals in a total team of 70 to 59 personals, and it hit 1-star director, which is obviously a team of 100. My goal was to hit that by the end of June, and obviously it hit at the middle of May, so I'm really happy about that. I think it's so important to highlight that getting a directorship is a massive team effort as well. I've got some amazing girls in my team, you know who you are, and I really know that they want it too. And I think helping your team understand their why and why they're doing it, and helping them on their journey, is a big part of your journey too. If you help your team win, you win as well. And I think it really is important to know why your team are doing it and what they want out of it as well. Not everyone's dream is the same as yours. And I felt like I was doing this on my own for a long time. I'd say until the beginning of 2023, when Kelsey and our Emma started running too, I was pretty much a one-man band. No one I'd ever brought in had really stuck at it. So please don't feel disheartened if you feel like that at the minute as well. You will find your tribe. Remember, you don't need to find a diamond or a rock star. You hear people say that all the time. I just need to find my diamond. I just need to find my diamond. You don't need a diamond. You just need to find people who are just like you, who just want the same things. And that is it. So I often get asked how I manage to fit it all in, because I work full time around 8 till 4:30. I've got Ella, my daughter, who swims, like I say, most nights, and lots of galas on weekends. And of course, at her age, she's 13. I'm mum's taxi as well, so I'm always running her about. Greg cannot drive at the moment because of his heart, so it's all on me, and he needs running about for things too. I go to the gym at least 3 times a week. I have a house to run, and obviously I'm a wife as well as a mum, and I also have quite a busy social life myself. So what do you mean when you're this busy, or what do you do when you're this busy? Because we're all the busiest people that we know, aren't we? So this is generally what I do every weekday. I get up at 5:30. I grab a coffee and I start my new conversations. I normally have about 10 messages done by the time I log into the IPA call at 6 a.m. I listen or give the value that we have at the beginning of the call, and then get the rest of the messages out, just listen to the music. Whatever time I've got left, I get my inbox emptied and I do my follow-ups. I have to jump off the call at 7 because I have to get ready for work. I have to leave at 7:40, and obviously make sure Ella's up and getting ready for school and stuff as well. So my job's different every day. So throughout the day where I can, I just keep on top of my inbox as best I can. At lunchtime, I get 45 minutes. So I go and eat my lunch in the car so I'm not distracted. I normally listen to a podcast while I actually eat my dinner. And then I put the radio on and just spend the rest of that time doing IPAs, or I'll do catch-ups with my team on like WhatsApp call or whatever. And any messages I think I need a voice note as well rather than typing, I'll leave till lunchtime as well, because don't underestimate a voice note. Voice notes are honestly so powerful, and they can really change your replies that you get from people because you're showing someone you're a real person. So there's certain things I'd rather leave until I can actually voice note properly rather than just sending a text message. My job's very on the go, so I can't have my planner with us. So I keep it in my locker and I take it with us at lunchtime to keep us up to date as I can. But if there's anything I need to remember, like if I've said I'd get back to someone on a certain day, or I've sent someone the website link or the information video, or ask the question or anything like I need to remember, I'll screenshot the message on Instagram and it'll go into my photos. And obviously make sure the Instagram handle's shown on the photo, that no notifications come in and like covered it up. And then I'll go through all my photos at the end of the day before I go to bed and transfer everything into my planner. So obviously if you do a spreadsheet, you can do the same thing. And then I'll just make sure I delete all the screenshots so I don't get mixed up. So it's just a little tip if you're on the go like me, so you don't forget things and don't forget to follow people up and stuff like that, or who you've got in the page and stuff. And that works well when I'm out and about at weekends or away for the weekend and I don't have room for my planner, or if you go on holiday or anything like that as well. And on weekends, I just try and fit it in a little box of time. I try and get my messages out if I can before I get out of bed. And if not, I just try and fit them in. Because if you think about it, even if you just do 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, you can get 5 messages out in like 10, 15 minutes. If you do that 4 times, you've done 20 messages, like in little tiny blocks that you won't even notice. Before I leave work, like to go home on a night, I normally sit in my car for 5 minutes before I actually set off and I empty my inbox again. So that when I do walk through the door at home and I see like Greg and Ella, it's the first thing I do is not going onto my phone. On a night, again, I just find the time around my gym class or making tea, picking Ella up, to keep on top of my messages. And if I have a spare 10 minutes waiting in the car or in the queue at Tesco, waiting for the air fryer to finish cooking, I'm in my DMs just getting something done. Sometimes when your inbox is full, it can feel really overwhelming. You open it and you've got all these messages to reply to. But instead of looking at it and thinking, oh, I haven't got time for that, and just closing it down or scrolling instead, just chip away at it. Even if you reply to one message, that's one less to do later. So just use your time wisely and you'll notice that you get more done. Then before I go to bed, I'll update my planner, make sure all my follow-ups are done and my inbox is empty before I go to bed. Don't get us wrong, there are days when I look at my inbox and I want to cry because I can't be bothered, or I sometimes put my messages off and I can get caught in the scroll hole like everybody else. I never ever jump out of bed at 5:30 and think, yeah, hey, I'm going to go on the 6 a.m. call. But you know what, I always feel better for doing it, and the end result is definitely worth it. So I always get it done. Like some days I do really want to hit the snooze button at 5:30, and I could go back to sleep till 7. Like I'd have to get up at 7 and get ready for work. But I know that when I wake up at 7, I'll still be absolutely knackered. I still won't want to get up and I'll have got nothing done. And that's enough to get me out of bed. I know like the girls that on here that join the 6 a.m. calls will totally agree. There's no better feeling than just going to work and knowing your messages are already done for the day. I honestly urge any single one of you that works and actually are just asleep at 6 a.m. to get up and commit just 1 week of 6 a.m. calls, and honestly, you'll never look back. The feeling that you get when you've done it before you even go to work just beats anything. Then you've got the rest of the day to fit everything else in. So what are my top tips that would help you get to director? So number one, work out your why. I know Rachel mentioned this last week, but it is important, because I think if you don't know why you're doing it, then why are you doing it? Like, why are you really doing this? If that's what's going to make you get up and do your IPAs, sit down for like 20 minutes after this call on your own and just write it down. And don't just say like more money, or you want to leave your job, or you want time with the kids. Ask yourself, why do you actually want those things? So for me, I do want more money. Why? Well, I want to be able to do more things, go away more. Why? So that me, Greg, and Ella can make more memories and have more experiences. Why? So that Ella has a bigger outlook on life. I want to be able to say yes to more things without wondering in the back of my mind if I can really afford it. And I want to choose things by choice and not have to press the low to high price option when I'm searching for anything online. Remember, you don't have to get the director for this opportunity to be actually life-changing for you. I think that's a really important thing to remember, especially at the beginning of your journey. $50 a month or $50 a week is more than you had before you started this, and that can pay for like little luxuries that you wouldn't normally get. Or you can build it up and pay for something bigger, like a weekend away or a holiday. Like one of my girls, Kelsey, a daughter, she asked her daughter Penny what she wanted for her birthday. I think she was 9. And she said she just wanted to spend some time with her mum, just them two. So because she's part of this business, she was able to book a little glamping trip through horse season. She got a discount obviously through it as well, and paid for it through the money she'd saved from doing this opportunity. So a whole weekend away with a hot tub for her and her little girl for her birthday, and not even touching our normal wages. It's just bloody incredible what you can have through this business. That is life-changing. Number 2, have a vision and know where you're going. If you can't see where you're going, how are you going to get there? We're almost halfway through the year. Like, where do you want to be by the end of the year? Go and write it down after this call, and then work backwards and work out how you're going to achieve it. So if you want to get the gold and you're just starting out, what do you need to do? Well, you need to get the bronze, you need to get the silver. So how do you get the bronze? Well, you need your first business partner. So focus on that and not getting the gold. And what's going to get you your first business partner is doing your IPAs every day. So focus on that as your goal every day, and those results will come. If you're doing the right things, the results will follow, and that's the only outcome. As long as you're doing the daily action every single day, you will get there. It doesn't matter how long it takes you, you will get there if you're doing the right things. You've got to focus on your next goal and not be distracted by other people's journeys. Watching other people's journeys and comparing yourself will only slow you down, like Rachel said last week. And I know that too true from my own journey as well. I know it sounds drastic, but I listened to a podcast once and said, if you're drowning and you're underwater, your only focus would be to pull yourself up to the surface. Like, you'd literally be just swimming and swimming, trying to get to the surface. At that moment where you feel like you're drowning, you would not be worrying about what you look like in your bikini or what other people were doing around the pool, like people watching or whatever. You would literally just be fighting to get yourself up to the surface where you can see the light above. You wouldn't be thinking about anything else. And that's what we need to do. We need to be focused on our goals so much that we don't notice other people's distractions. If you've got a long-term vision with this and you're prepared to see it through, and you know where you're going and what you want in, say, the next 5 years, don't think by the end of this year, think long-term. And if you think long-term, stop worrying about having a bad day with your messages, or a bad week, or even a bad month. In the long term, that's not going to matter, because if you've got long-term vision and you've decided that you're going to get to directorship with this, a bad day or a bad week or a bad month's not going to make any difference, because you will still get there in the end. Number 3, consistency and discipline. So without consistency and discipline, to be honest, you're probably not going to get there. You have to commit to your dreams, and when motivation isn't there, because it's not all of the time, and when we can't be asked, we have to maybe have a busy day, maybe a busy week, a busy month. We have to use our discipline to get it done. And if you can choose not to do it, then your goals and your why is just not big enough. Your IPAs are easy to do. It's like literally sending messages on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. but it's also really easy not to do. And that choice is yours. If you have a busy day ahead, plan in advance when you can do your IPAs, even if, like I said, it's like little 10-15 minute blocks throughout the day. If you don't, your days will run away with you. And before you know it, you'll be going to bed and you'll be trying to catch up, or you'll just end up saying, I'll do it tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. I would definitely say decide on some non-negotiable minimums with yourself. It doesn't matter what other people are doing, what you think you can manage. So, for example, mine is 30 new conversations every day, and I do 20 minimum on a weekend. I always try and do 30, but 20 is my minimum on a weekend, and I don't go to bed until I've done that amount. I try and get them done as early as I can in the day, every single day, but choose an amount that works for you, like I say. So when I first started, I started on 10 a day, and I just built it up. But bear in mind that the less you do, the slower your journey. But also remember, that's absolutely okay if you're happy with that, as we're all on our own journey as well. I'd also just say that when you have your dedicated IPA time, so when you think, right, I'm going to sit for an hour, say on the 6 a.m. call, or I'm going to do an hour before my shift starts at lunchtime, or I'm going to do an hour at 9 o'clock when the kids go to bed, that hour needs to be dedicated to your IPA time, your income producing activities. So don't get caught up in answering messages to your team or your friends, or replying in like group chats, because that's not going to get you to where you want to be. That is not income producing. You can do that after. Marcel has always said the queen eat first, and it's always stuck with us. Get your own IPAs done before you reply to everybody else. And number 4, stay tapped into your community. Please don't ever underestimate the effect of staying tapped in and the effect it can have on your business. And try and make every call live if you can. So like all of you on this call now, you're going to get a much better feeling from it live than you ever will if you can catch it up on a recording. Be on all the training calls if you can, the affiliate calls, the travel training, to help you build your knowledge and stay around the energy. Be on the morning IPA calls if you can. I know I bang on about them, but honestly, they're a game changer. Every single morning there's value for you to tap into. Like, one of us will say something inspirational every single morning, and that'll help you with your business. And then there's people sat down in the dressing gowns with a cup of tea doing the IPAs together with some music playing. Think about lockdown. No one was traveling, but the community is what kept people motivated and people's businesses moving forward. Staying tapped in helps you see the bigger picture and see what's possible with this. It's honestly so important. And finally, number 5, believe in yourself and be grateful for where you are right now. I honestly wish I'd believed in myself more and believed I could get here earlier in my journey. I always thought I did believe in myself, but when I look back, I didn't truly believe in myself, and I was always looking at other people and wondering why their businesses is moving faster, and in turn just slow myself down. Please believe us when I say no one is doing anything different than what we're doing or what you're doing. What's in your training and what we tell you to do. It's just some people are doing more work and taking more action than others. Please decide what you want out of this business. Make the decision, like I said earlier, that you're going to do the work, and just go for it, honestly. Imagine what it's like to get to the place that you want to be, and really believe that you can make it happen, because you can. And along the way, be grateful for where you are. Always take time to see how far you've come. It doesn't have to be based on sign-ups. Maybe you've increased your confidence, you've got better at socials, you've started to voice note someone, you've booked some travel, you've got a saving. But whatever it is, you will have always grown. So when you're having a down day, just look back to January and look at what you've done this year, for example. And always just be grateful for where you are right now, because it is part of your journey as to where you're going. So like I said the other day, please use my journey as proof that if you don't give up, it will happen for you. It's never, ever a matter of if it's going to happen. It's always a matter of when. As long as you're taking the action and you just keep going, you will always get there. And the time it takes is absolutely irrelevant, because when you get here, honestly, you won't care how long it took, believe me. So push yourself every single day, stay tapped into the community, block out the outside noise, and keep chasing your dream always. So now it's time to celebrate all the success we've had in the team in the last week. Please use this as inspiration of what is possible. It's different people getting shouted out every single week, which just goes to show how there's enough success for everyone. So I'm going to get myself out of the way, and I'm going to pass over to Gemma.
Hi everyone.